I am currently the state bee inspector. We are here because we have an interest in one of the pollinators that is suffering a great decline in our country, and it's the honeybee, Apis mellifera. The honeybee, Apis mellifera. When America or United States was pollinated, when they got off those wooden ships and started those little colonies, these people that were fleeing, for whatever they were fleeing in Europe, came over for a reason, and they also brought the tools of their trade, which was agriculture. So they brought over plants and trees and such. And they made a really good accident, by the way. They brought two things that are not native to this land, by the way. And the second thing that is not native to this land is Apis mellifera, our honeybee. Honeybees, Apis mellifera, have been with us on this great planet Earth. Any guesses?
Since the dinosaurs, right, I think?
Wow, that's a good guess. Prehistoric times, dinosaur times. And so insects and bees and honeybees play a vital role in pollinating all of our food crops and all of our animal crops, quite a bit. And it is said, I haven't been able to prove this, it is said that Einstein once said that when the honeybee goes extinct, 4 years later mankind would go extinct. And so honeybees and humans have co-evolved. They've co-evolved for a couple of reasons. One is, when you were a caveman out in the woods, there was a lot of plants and vegetation out there. That gets pretty boring. You ever eat salad every day, 3 times a day, 7 days a week? And then they stumbled upon this sweet substance that the bees make called honey. It's like, oh, wow, boy, this tastes really good. And so honey became a sweetener for mankind for thousands and thousands of years. They're very beneficial to us. Honeybees are one of several pollinators around, and our pollinators are in trouble today, right? So our pollinators are in trouble, and why are they in trouble? Well, the forage is gone. Loss of habitat, which is a very big issue for all insect pollinators. Number 2, we use a lot of chemicals today. Our country uses more chemicals than the rest of the world. So the most important thing to do when you want to decide to get into beekeeping is get a mentor. Find somebody who is reputable and knowledgeable about beekeeping and see if they'll help you along. You can get a mentor by going to our website at the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station. All those registrations that we collected, we then present it to you town by town. So if you go to East Haddam and you look, and there's a whole gaggle of people, some in this room, by the way, that are registered. And perhaps you can pick their brain, and perhaps you can get good information from them. But until he's laid off, where else could you get good information from? Me. That's what I do. So my business card is out there with some other materials that I brought. So give me an email. That's the best way, is to send me an email at my address. Because if I'm out in the bee yard all dressed up, I can't answer my phone. It gets all sticky, and my wife gets very upset with me. Read some more. There are like magazines for beekeeping, and this is one. There are 2, American Bee Journal and Bee Culture magazine. Everyone asks me, you know, what's the best beekeeping book? There's two that most people gravitate to. One is called The Beekeeper's Handbook. Another one is Beekeepers for Dummies. Another one is called Beekeeping Basics, and that's put out by the University of Maryland, and it's a consortium effort with several different colleges in apiculture, and so that is also available. That's available online, and I think somewhere in one of my presentations I actually have the HTTP address where you can go and download that book for free. If somebody wants it, send me an email. I'll send it to you. And of course, join a beekeeping organization. Join a bee club. You can't do this without keeping some notes. Because if you get into a problem, right, and you're going to reach out to your resources, maybe you'll call me or send me an email. What types of questions do you think I'm going to ask you? I'm going to ask you bits of knowledge stuff. And you're going to say, like me, you're going to write it down. You don't write it down, you don't remember it. So I'll ask you things like, when did you get your hive? I don't know. Where did you get your bees from? And so it makes some notes. You don't have to write a scholarly novel. Just jot some quick notes down. It's going to help you and it's going to help me. Basic words you'll use. Avail. So avail is something like this that we wear over our heads so that the bees don't bother us too much. And so this is called a beekeeping veil. And as with everything in life, there's a million different types of these veils. So, and I often get asked this question with new beekeepers. How much stuff should I buy? Should I buy this and should I buy that and this and that and that and this? I'm pretty simple. I don't have a lot of money, by the way, and I'm pretty simple. So I don't have the full regatta, all right? I don't have the colorful plastic boots with the flower designs on them for mucking. I don't have the special bee trousers and all of that stuff, and the big bee suit and the big bee head, and it's vented and air conditioned, and I don't have 2 layers of gloves that go up my arms, and a mask, and goggles. But this is what I share with you. It's most important that you are comfortable. So we talked about the smoker. That's an important tool. So they learned a long time ago that if you use smoke, it helps as a management tool. How does it help as a management tool? It's understanding the biology of the bee. So when a bee or when a hive has to make another hive somewhere else, and it has to swarm to do that process, it engorges itself on honey. So it has a honey stomach. It fills up on honey because they need honey to eat to produce wax from their wax glands in the abdomen. And so oftentimes people ask me, what's the most important thing of a hive? Is it the honey? Is it the queen? No. It's the beeswax. It's the most important thing in your hive. You need to have wax. Wax, beeswax, or the comb is the answer to many, many problems. And so this is a frame with beeswax that they've put their cells on. And they do everything on this. They store food, they raise their young, they store honey. That's the most important thing to build a nest. They need honey to do that. So, if you smoke the hive, and I personally like to use just pine needles, dried out pine needles, give them a little smoke. Inside the hive, it's like fire alarm, hive's on fire, burning, burning. Go suck up all the honey that we can get into our big stomachs because we got to get out of Dodge. Because we need to go to a new place and build a new home, and we're going to need the honey to build the wax to build our nest. So by giving them a little puff, puff, we cause them to change some of their behavior. We take the focus off of me, or you, and put it onto some other thing. So go eat honey, get some honey, and two, bees live in a chemical society. Hormones, pheromones. So when bees are agitated or in danger, they'll release a pheromone from their butt. No, it's not a fart. I read your mind. And so that is a warning signal that goes to the other bees and they can sense it. And they'll get all riled up. So the smoke also helps to mask that. So it masks that pheromone odor. It causes them to change some behavior, and it makes it easier to work with the bees by giving them some smoke. And then the next thing that we have is a hive tool. It has a nice pry edge to it where you can put it between two frames. You can lift it out nice. So those are the basic components of a hive. The hive stand looks like that. And I used to buy those hive stands. I don't waste my time anymore. You know, I'm kind of frugal. And so like for the money for that, I just use a piece of plywood on the bottom. Then you have a bottom board. So this is a bottom board. This is just what the hive bodies rest on. Oops. You have something called a slated rack that looks like that third piece. It's slatted and there's space in between. Then you have, this often confuses people about whether it's a brood chamber or a honey super or whatever. So you have two boxes. They're called brood chambers. That's where the bees grow their babies. It's brood, baby bees. It's a brood box. Brood boxes can be any size. But if the bees are using it to raise your young, it's a brood box. And they can be all that size, they can be bigger, they can be shorter and smaller. So it's usually the first two boxes in our area, usually the first two boxes are referred to as a brood box. And then, above the brood, we like to put other boxes that are probably smaller in size. And what are those called?
Honey super.
Honey supers. So they're super superior on top of the brood box, and they collect additional honey. So the device in between is called a queen excluder. It prevents the queen from getting up into the supers and laying eggs so that they don't make it a what? Brood chamber. Very good. Then you have an inner cover, and then we can open this box up and we can actually see these pieces. And inner cover, and then we have a telescoping cover. And the telescoping cover goes on the top of the hive. So the most important thing, by the way, is this notch right here. For me anyways, in my opinion, this notch is very important. So I always have a notch on my inner cover. And we're going to talk about why that's important. And so that's the basic configuration. Basic. Number one killer of beehives today is what?
Varroa
I have this on another slide, but I have three things. So one answer could be the varroa mite. What could be another answer?
Hive beetle.
Hive beetle could be. What would be another reason? Another one. What could be another one?
A beekeeper.
The beekeeper! Yes! Humans! We kill more bees than I can tell you. We can probably kill more bees than varroa mites kill bees. Varroa mites are the number one, besides humans, the number one killer of beehives today. Varroa mites. So if you do not control your varroa mites, I can guarantee you that your hive will be dead shortly. I hear it every year. Hundreds of times. And we're going to talk more about this. I'm teasing you a little. This is a little bit later in another lecture. So one of the ways that we can get some of the mites out of the hive is we can put a screen. Ooh. A screen on the bottom instead of having a solid bottom board. Just do it.